Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel V. Hill, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel V. Hill.
Listen, I know it's the off season for a lot of the Denver sports teams besides the Rapids and the Rockies. And I also know that this is called Denver Sports. We're Denver Sports, and I get it. But we got to be able to talk about some of the other things going on in the world. And there are a lot, like Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe, the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup Finals, Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old. Yeah, that one's also very interesting. We have not touched on it here on this show. And then Travis Kelce joining Taylor Swift up on stage in the Eras Tour in full costume. There's plenty to get into, and there's only one person that I can talk to about literally anything. That's you, but you also need a mic in front of your face.
That's true. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I got a little too comfortable.
A little too comfortable, a little too excited because I brought up Bill Belichick, and Richie was like, wait a second. We'll get to that because that's the oldest story we're going to touch on. Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe. Bad call?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Bad call. I understand, and because anytime you say it's bad call, you get the hockey fans that are like, it's based on the whole playoffs, not just... Yes, I got it. Okay.
Great.
Just because that's the case doesn't make it sound logic just in general.
Yeah.
And I'll disclaim it however I need to disclaim it. Connor McDavid is a phenomenal, generational hockey player, and he probably will be for a foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he should. I have a real problem with awarding a postseason award, especially a playoff MVP, most valuable player, to someone on the losing team.
I'm totally with you. What are we doing?
Yeah, think about this. His name is not going on the cup.
No.
But we have to call him MVP of the playoffs.
It's only the sixth time that it's happened in NHL history that there's been a Conn Smythe winner that was on the losing team.
Yep, and I think it's ridiculous 6 times.
Stupid.
Yep.
You ready for this stat?
Yeah.
Val Nichushkin had more goals in the postseason than Connor McDavid did this year.
Yep, and he played how many less games? It was some significant. He had 9 and McDavid had 8.
What?
Val Nichushkin was in the top 6 in the whole playoffs.
I know.
And I think that I'm probably gonna enrage hockey fan or whatever that is when I say this, but if we applied the Conn Smythe Trophy logic to the other 4 major sports, people would go bananas.
Yeah.
Okay. Think about this. Imagine in 2016, right? We're still feeling good after the Broncos Super Bowl. It's only 1 year removed. 2016 was the year of, in my opinion, one of, if not the greatest sports collapses in a championship game ever.
Yep.
28-3, Atlanta Falcons lose
to
the Patriots.
Ever forget?
So think about this, right? Think about at the conclusion of that game, arguably the worst blown lead in NFL, maybe sports history, and a defining moment that cements Tom Brady's legacy or further cements it as the GOAT.
Yeah.
Imagine if Matt Ryan won Super Bowl MVP after that game. And you're like, that's crazy. That would never happen. But wait, in 2016, you know who the league MVP was? Matt Ryan. He won the league MVP in the regular season. In the postseason, his touchdown to interception ratio, 9 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. He went through prime Aaron Rodgers to get there in the NFC Championship game. And for 3/4 of that game, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
So if we're using the Conn Smythe logic of it's a body of work for the entire postseason, Matt Ryan would have been the Super Bowl MVP in 2016, even though he lost in an epic fashion because it's a body of work thing. And that would literally make me spontaneously combust and vomit at the same time.
Which is so funny because I look at the Stanley Cup as the best trophy in sports.
Yeah.
It is. I'm sorry.
There's something, first of all, now that I've seen it up close and in person,
so cool.
I didn't touch it, unlike some of our coworkers here.
Thank you. I was floored by the amount of people that
didn't touch it. Kevin Kistner, chicken fingers.
The story behind that is you have to win the cup to touch it. So when you see all of these people going out and partying with it and stuff, and I'm like, You didn't win the cup.
Yes.
Please stop touching it.
To quote
It's a curse.
to quote the great Michael Scott, I'm not superstitious,
Yeah.
but I am a little stitious.
Oh, I am.
And that I am stitious about. Like, don't mess with the sports gods.
Yep.
But now that I've seen it up close, especially, and you get to really like look at the intricacies and the details and the history behind it, plus the way they do the celebration with the championship trophies, the whatever goes on. I mean, we had like Tom Brady tossing the Lombardi back and forth on a boat when he won it in Tampa and all that. But like the things that this Stanley Cup, if cups could talk, the things that this trophy has seen, been exposed to, has had done to it, you could write several books. And so, yeah, and I think because of that, the allure, the mystique, there's something that's just inherently more emotional about that trophy. Like, you see hockey players who, in my opinion, toughest athletes on the planet.
Yeah.
These grown men who don't even have full mouths full of teeth and, barely some of them barely speak English and all that stuff. They like universally like break down in tears looking at, holding, skating around with this trophy.
I love the Stanley Cup. I truthfully think it is the best trophy in all of sports. I think a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals, like, nothing can beat it. I'm sorry, NBA, anybody, like, don't come at me, but I truthfully do think it's the best.
Which makes Connor McDavid, to put a bow, which makes Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe trophy in a playoff format that means so much and has so much history behind it, even more Mickey Mouse.
But
Mickey Mouse.
None of it makes sense. It's kind of like the voting committee got like bamboozled, and they were like, if we don't pick Connor McDavid, like, the fans are going to hate us.
There was only one voter that didn't give McDavid a first place vote.
It's ridiculous.
It sucks. It's weak.
Oh, okay. Moving on. Bill Belichick.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we haven't talked about this, honestly. I've been kind of waiting for Richie. Richie went on vacation last week, and I was like, Richie, you're the person I need to talk to about this. And I know it's a bit of an old story right now, but if you had not heard, Bill Belichick's dating a 24-year-old. And I actually had Mike Evans and Mark Schlereth the other day came in. They recorded a stinking truth about this instance. And they were like, Rachel, what do you think? And I'm like, for Bill Belichick, I'm like, good for you, Bill. Whatever. For her, I'm like, clearly you're trying to get into some inner circle here and go somewhere else.
Well, didn't I see that somebody, like, her ex-boyfriend came out and was super critical of it, and he's like in his early 60s.
Yes.
It's like, so you've done this before.
It's not
right?
just Bill.
Like, this was not a chance encounter of true love. Maybe not. I don't know. Not going to speak but here's what I struggle with. It's like a weird combination, because on one hand, it's hard to see other people living out your dreams.
What?
It's and you also have to wrestle with the fact, like, I guess you don't. I have to wrestle with the fact that Bill Belichick might have more game than me.
Bill Belichick also has a lot more money than you and a lot more connections than you.
All true. But man, like, there's got to be something else. Like, if it's all about the money and all about that, then, like, we'll see how long it lasts and it goes. But I think this has been going on secretly behind the scenes for a while. And again, it's not as if an attractive 24-year-old, you see a cheerleader, former cheerleader, right? That doesn't strike me as somebody who couldn't have somewhat of a pick of the litter, even if it was among the nursing home geriatrics. You know what I mean? So Bill had to stand out in some way. And now I'm starting to wonder, like, Bill got game? Am I just washed? Does Bill have that much significantly better game than me? Because I don't think, if I even make it to 72, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of 24-year-olds banging down my door. Or, I'm not going to get caught on a Ring camera leaving their apartment shirtless.
Oh, it's so funny when we think back to that video when it originally came out. We were all like,
what is the context here? We were like, how could this have happened?
And now we all know the backstory.
It honestly makes it more legendary. Like,
okay, but is he bored, or like, is he missing a void that is football in his life? Like, why? You could keep this quiet if you wanted to.
You could, although when you're that high profile in the spotlight, I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't.
Have we ever known what Bill Belichick did outside of the Patriots facility? Not a day.
You know what? That's a good point, Rachel. That is a good point, because nothing came to mind off the top of my head. But if it's boredom, I don't know. I think that's going to backfire on him, and that's not going to fill the void that he's looking for, because putting in a relationship is not like putting in the effort into a relationship, even if it's this weird, I could be your grandpa dynamic and all that. That requires some effort and some work, and she's got more energy than he does. And I don't know, like is he going to be? Is he going to be her plus one at all these things now? And like,
I would go to
or is she just going to be the oldest 24-year-old ever and just embrace retired life? But what is retired life with?
He's not retired though. He's on Pat Mac. He's hanging out with Pat McAfee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know.
Probably
I don't
drinking
know.
at the Super Bowl.
The whole thing is just weird to me. And I have this weird mix of concern and kind of like disgust, but like weird inherent almost jealousy or insecurity about the fact that, again, I might just like have one fraction of the game of like a 74-year-old unattractive, surly kind of comic book villain.
Okay.
Like,
I have no words to say.
The only reason I said comic book villain is because there's a lot of memes going around about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, and one of them they use Wonder Woman and
oh my God,
Danny DeVito as the Penguin, and it was like, who knew these two would have got together? And I just can't get the image of Danny DeVito as the Penguin from the old Batman movies out of my head.
Who's more at fault here, Bill Belichick or the 24-year-old?
The 24-year-old. Bill Belichick is not closing that deal unless she wants it to be closed.
Yeah.
He has all the money and the notoriety and the fame, but in terms of them being an item, she has all the cards.
This is so crazy.
She's there because she wants to be there for whatever motivations.
Oh, dear Lord. Well, you know who else wants to be there?
Who?
Travis Kelce.
My man.
Wants to be on stage in a costume supporting girlfriend Taylor Swift. People get so angry about this still.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, but it is changing the landscape of sports as we know it. I don't care what anybody says.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many Jason Kelce jerseys at the Eras Tour, Travis Kelce jerseys. Like, we are seeing just a different level of, I don't even know, like fandom now going into concerts.
Yeah. Beyond, I mean, you're expanding the footprint of what is already the greatest business war machine entity in the world, which is the NFL. They're unstoppable.
100%.
And they have now tapped into a way to reach limits that even they probably weren't forecasting. Definitely not this fast and this like potently with Taylor Swift, because you can look at the numbers. Their revenue shot through the roof.
Yep.
Their increase and uptick in female viewership through the roof.
Which that's why I don't understand why people are so mad about it.
No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. And you can say whatever you want about like I don't tune into a football game to see them cut away to Taylor Swift. It's like, you know how many football games I've watched where they cut away to like Rob Lowe wearing like a weird NFL generic hat, or like Jack Nicholson at a Lakers game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't watch a Lakers game to watch Jack Nicholson. I don't watch the Knicks to see Spike Lee. I don't whatever. But if somebody is watching for that and they get like an enjoyment out of seeing Jack Nicholson or Spike Lee or Taylor Swift on the screen, who cares?
Do
you know how long an NFL broadcast is? 4 hours long. You know how much football gets played?
This is the craziest
16 minutes.
The craziest
It's like 15 or 16 minutes of actual football. So cry me a river if 27 seconds of a 4-hour football broadcast flashes to Taylor Swift in a box. Get over it.
It was funny because I actually fell into the conversation of people being like, oh my God, we do not need to see Taylor Swift again. And you know what? I actually got excited when they put her up on the screen. Like, she is a mega superstar. Like, what she does is actually so freaking cool that I was like, no, actually, I do get kind of excited when they put her up there. I want to see what she's doing in the box. Is she stuffing her face with popcorn like I am? Like, what is she doing? But I would do that with a lot of celebrities.
Well, and I was going to say, isn't that a thing that makes it like super relatable? Like at her, I just saw a clip from her concert in London where it was like, it was Travis Kelce, it was Prince Harry and Tom Cruise and all these like crazy celebrity socialite royalty people, and they are all dancing like little kids to shake it off. And I was like, you know what? They're just like us.
And it's flipped too.
They're just like us.
When people do Travis Kelce videos, like of him dancing in the stands, I get excited too, right? Like, I'm excited to see her in the stands because it's cool. I'm excited to see him singing "Shake It Off" behind the scenes. Like, that's freaking cool.
And I just the thing that pulled on my heartstrings about it a little bit, the reason why I just like roll my eyes at people who are like sports bro, like I tune in to watch the commercials. I don't need Taylor Swift. Is think about how many, and you saw the video, you know that it's not made up because you see the videos that go viral on social media. Think about how many little girls who were not on this wavelength are now watching football or started watching football because they wanted to see Taylor Swift, and it's now the genesis, the beginning of a father-daughter bond.
It's so cool.
That like a sports dad-girl bond that may not have ever materialized organically that way. It would have been forced, like, I watch the Dolphins because my dad makes me watch it with him. But no, now it's like, hey, no, I grew up watching the Chiefs with my dad. And it started because of Taylor Swift. And then I fell in love with it after the fact. Just because that's how somebody got in the door doesn't mean that they don't become passionate about it, in a genuine sense, the same way everybody else is later on.
And it's not just even little girls, it's teenage girls. It's grown women that are watching it. And
with their husbands, with their brothers, with their sons.
And it sucks because it's like Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs right now are obviously a main topic. But they're watching Patrick Mahomes be great. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Like, watch this comeback happen where you're like on the edge of your seat, just like we all are as football fans. Like, it's not just about
one of my least favorite things about us as a sports collective, as a community, is that so many people have this weird, I can't explain it, tendency or urge to want to gatekeep fandom, right? It's like we have this negative association or connotation with
that's my team
bandwagoning, right? It's like, the Golden State Warriors, they start a little mini dynasty and then they gain all these fans, or Kevin Durant jumps on.
Mini dynasty?
I mean, maybe it's not.
That's a little.
Maybe it's not mini. I mean, what was it? Was it 4 years? 4 years? They won like 3 championships in 4 or 5 years.
I gotta give it to him.
Listen, biggest Steph Curry fan in the world.
Not gonna,
and my guy Draymond.
Okay, if you were Travis Kelce, though, could you have gotten up on that stage in that costume and played the role like he played it?
The difference between me and Travis Kelce is I would have happily done it, but I would have had to beg to do it. Whereas he was probably asked to do it. But yes, I would have gone up there in my Greatest Showman, Magic Man outfit, and I would have done whatever she said. And it was hilarious that he got because he's such an extrovert and he's such an entertainer and a loud, boisterous personality. He got caught up in the hype of doing it all and like missed his cue to do the little powder move on her face to follow along with the script of the song. And like, you saw her, like, she was like looking at him and he was like hyping up the crowd and doing all this stuff. And she like leaned her face in as like a little hint of like, do it. And then finally she had to be like, put it on my face. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. She literally like leans in and is like,
hello.
Yeah. And he's like, and you can tell because he's like hyping up the crowd and all that stuff. And all of a sudden he looks over and she gives him a look and she literally mouths him. She's like, do it, or like put it on or something like that. And he's like, oh yeah.
Question. We know that sheesh talking is a real deal in the NFL. Could you see somebody tackling Travis Kelce and going out there and he did like this little smile after you tackled him? Do you think that's going to happen?
Do you think people are going to trash talk against Travis Kelce because of his relationship with Taylor Swift, or do you think Travis Kelce is going to use? I missed the
like, I could see somebody tackle Travis Kelce and they get up and they go,
yes,
like him.
Not only do I 100% expect that it happens, I hope it does. And I'll be disappointed if it doesn't, because that's fun. That is using and it's not like, your example, it's not like they're saying like mean, derogatory, nasty things about her. They're not getting personal about, girlfriends, wives, kids, and anything like that. That is a, cute little like, jab that's like, oh, gotcha. Yeah. Like, oh, shake that off. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. I love that. Yeah. So I think that I think that would be cool. And the best thing is it's going to set up Travis Kelce, who, albeit is on the tail end of probably the prime of his career, but that man can ball. And so that sets up Travis Kelce. Somebody, Hassan Reddick or somebody tackles Travis Kelce and tries to give him a cute little, middle finger with the Taylor Swift thing. And he's like, okay, watch me go for 11 94 and 3 touchdowns on you now.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Don't doubt him.
that's sports.
Don't
That's
doubt him.
fun.
Don't doubt him.
You don't think Tom Brady took trash talk about Giselle over the years? And look what he
100%.
did.
I'm going to be interested. One, are the Chiefs going to three-peat? Is it going to be the first time in history we're going to see a three-peat? And how does Tom Brady do in the booth?
Okay. 2 questions. First question, are the Chiefs going to three-peat? I mean,
I think they are.
The easy answer is to say no, because historically it's never happened. And winning a Super Bowl, winning a championship period,
So hard.
but winning a Super Bowl in the NFL with the amount of turnover and just like the grind of that season is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the easy answer is no, but I will say this. I'm not going to be stunned. I legitimately would not be. I would not be stunned. And I would go so far as to say I wouldn't fault somebody for putting a little sprinkle on that at the old sports book if they wanted to.
100%.
Because I am never... I've learned my lesson, even in just a short 4-year or so sample size. I am never, ever, for any reason.
Can I finish your sentence? Gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Ever.
Yeah, me either.
Ever. I don't care.
Never.
I would rather bet on the Chiefs and lose, knowing that in my head I went with the logical choice, than try to get cute or whatever and then bet against him and then just watch him dismantle my hopes and dreams like he has for 5 years.
Yep, I'm with you.
Second question was, how do I think Tom Brady's going to be in the booth? I think he's going to be exceptionally good. I think he is going to be tailor-made. He's smart.
Super smart.
He's as learned and as wisdom, wise and experienced as you could ask an NFL player to be. He played for 2 decades plus. And as we learned when he broke free from the Patriot, castle, the Patriot way, he has a personality.
Yeah.
And
how could we forget him throwing the Lombardi trophy on a boat?
Yeah, drunk on avocado tequila.
Yep,
like
amazing.
His backup, what was his backup's name? I don't remember.
It
wasn't Chad Henne or something. His backup, who's like a longtime NFL vet, literally is like slogging his arm over his shoulder, carrying him through the crowd because he's so drunk on avocado tequila that he can't walk.
And the roast, I know he said he wouldn't do it because of what came out of his kids
that had a lot to do with his family and with all that stuff. And I bet you a lot of guys privately might think that of I understand I did this for a certain publicity and I did that, but but again, you sign up for that. You open yourself up to the wolves. You can't get mad if you get nipped at.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But it just shows his personality.
Yeah, I think he's going to be awesome. Now, do I feel a little bit bad for a Greg Olsen?
I feel terrible.
Who I actually thought was really, really good.
Fantastic.
And deserved to be on the A team. And he's just getting bumped for it. It's like being the best guy on your team. And then your team trades for Michael Jordan.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What
are you supposed to do?
Okay. Yeah. So I think he's going to be great. And I don't think he's going to have a long learning curve to get there.
No,
I'm excited to watch him.
Me too. I've already seen some of the interviews. It's like one of those things where I'm going to sit down that day and watch his
and I'll be honest with you, if you want to look at, I don't say that about, it's not just an automatic, oh, you were the GOAT or you're considered the GOAT in a certain sport and therefore you're, automatically it transitions well. I think Wayne Gretzky has an argument to be the GOAT of GOATs. If you want to take the GOATs and all that, Wayne Gretzky was unbelievable. I am up and down on when I listen or watch Wayne Gretzky's commentary on stuff and I'm just okay, I don't really get a ton out of it a lot of the times. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, I would listen to Michael Jordan talk about basketball. I would, just cause he's just a jerk.
And there's something so freaking good.
Yeah. There's just something about it that I like.
He was just such a,
but yeah. So I don't think that if you're, the greatest of all time at a specific sport that all of a sudden, it transitions. But in his case, I think it will.
I do too. I've heard some of his interviews. I think it's going to be fantastic. So cannot wait, Richie. I know it's not Denver sports, but thank you for talking anything and everything sports with me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And to all of you guys in the comments too, I appreciate you guys. I know it's Denver sports. Trust me, I get it. But there are lots of fun storylines happening, and especially during the off season for so many of the big sports teams around here. It's fun to chit chat about a lot of other things. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us in the comments, and we will see you guys tomorrow.